707 online. Hey, it is Tuesday night. Thanks for tuning in. John here. Listen, we're going to do something completely different because y'all have seen what's going on in America. It feels like everything is on fire. Everybody's angry and upset and sad. And so we want to be honest and real. We feel like 707 should be a safe place to tackle stuff that's going on in our lives and to ask honest questions. So this is our attempt. It's a real, honest, sometimes raw conversation on race in America. And with me here in the studio are two special guests that you all know and love. To my left, your right, is one of our 707 adult leaders, Roderick Pritchett. Roderick.
What's up?
And then on my right, your left, is the pride of Heritage High School in Saginaw, Michigan, Xander Curry Phillips. Ladies, his number will be up later on the screen. But listen. We just want to be here to let's talk about what y'all are texting about and seeing on the news, and let's have the conversation. I got a couple questions that I'm going to ask Rod and Xander, and I just want to listen and learn. It is Blackout Tuesday, and so the focus today is to just shut up and listen. But we also want to give you the opportunity to ask questions. So anytime, starting right now, you are welcome to type honest questions that you have. Whether you're tuning in on Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook, you can type in your question, and we are going to try to get to as many of your live questions as possible about race, anything that you want to throw out there. No holds barred, right, guys?
Amen. That's right.
So I'm going to kick it off right now, and I'm going to ask Rod first. Okay. My first question is, Rod. Okay, so spoiler alert: I'm like the token white guy here, right? I'm
white.
Well, listen, I'm actually half Indian, but I basically blend in a crowd. Okay? Let's be honest. Let's be honest.
All right.
But three of my amazing kiddos are African American, and so I'm trying to figure this all out too. I'm going through the roller coaster of emotions, but nothing like what you and Xander can speak into. Can you just kind of kick it off tonight with just an honest question? What is it like to be a black man in America today? Help us understand, for those of us who have never had that experience.
Wow. Well, it's definitely fearful. Leaving home is not, it's no guarantee that, we face challenges every day. I mean, anytime any of us leave home, whether that's an accident, whether that's falling, tripping over stairs, whatever, any type of just basic accident you can have. But the fear of just being in this beautiful skin, is there's so much prejudice and hatred and that some people just harbor within their hearts. And it's nerve-wracking at times because, unfortunately, people that are in positions of power and authority, and like we've seen this week, unfortunately, sometimes that it plays out where it's law enforcement, whom I was taught to respect, and you have to worry about the wrong person wearing that badge, harboring hatred and bitterness in their heart for this skin color. And and willing to do whatever they can to empower their race, which is scary. It's scary. And I mean, in being honest with you, I mean, my fear is not so much as for myself these days as it is for, I'm a granddad now. My wife and I, we raise girls, but I have a grandson, three grandsons, and two out of the three are African American. And to think that they may have to experience or go through what I've gone through or experienced, and the chances of them not coming out as fortunate as I have been scares me. It terrifies me. It really terrifies me.
And maybe, Xander, you could also kind of speak into this as comfortable as you are. I don't want you to be in a weird position, but 707, we're a community of students, middle school, high school. So you've got that realm, and then you have the African American experience. What's been your experience? Help us understand that.
Specifically, what do you mean by experience? Like everyday life, or is there a certain setting that you're looking
like
for an
high
answer to?
school. Tell me, help me understand. What is it like to be a high schooler in today's world?
During this social media age, there is a lot of attention brought to not only us as a racial group, but also as a culture. A lot of things are very concentrated on what we are doing and how we react to it, such as like music. Anyone can step into the music business and take something from our culture. It's been done for decades, and it's still going on now. From things such as style, what you're saying, what you're doing, slang, stuff like that. The music that you're taking can sometimes be taken from someone else. And I feel like that's not fair because it's something that we've created and it's been appropriated by every other race.
Wow. What is it like? We're kind of here in the Midwest. We're in Saginaw. What has been some of the things you've seen, either in your experience or with people you know, or what is it like to be an African American teen in the greater Saginaw area?
Like Roderick said earlier, being a African American is very fearful, especially at my age. Being 18, I'm leaving my home soon. I'm leaving my mother, her guidance, and I'm going out into my own world. I have to take care of myself now. I can't have someone always in my corner backing me up. I have to make my own decisions. I have to speak for myself. I have to do for myself. And I might not always know how to go about that or how to do it. And that's one of the things that's very scary going into this next chapter of my life, because I don't know what's going to be thrown at me.
Roderick, I'm curious, I've been watching a ton of news.
Yeah.
I'm just shocked and blown away by what happened to George Floyd. Can you speak just to a minute about what's now happening in the aftermath? Help us understand, because there's middle schoolers who are tuning in right now, and this is the first time they've ever seen protesters in the streets.
Yeah.
Can you help us understand that?
I'll do my best. You know, when it comes to, first of all, one of the biggest things going on that you hear as you turned on the TV and we witnessed this man, Mr. Floyd, being put into handcuffs and coming out, being detained and coming out of a store, being detained for, I think it was the possibility of having counterfeit money. Hadn't been proven yet, but there was a possibility. And in the process of that, the police detained this gentleman and restrained him. And once they restrained him, he pleaded. He cried out for help. He said, I cannot breathe. And as humans, our society it's like we're becoming numb to one another's pain. It's not just about George Floyd. It's about the Eric Gardner. It's been over the past few years. It's been one tragedy after another of young black men being murdered in front of the whole world without a weapon in their hand. And we're talking about by the same people we put in that took an oath to protect us, to serve us. And we're all supposed to be equal. We're all in the land of free. They didn't go and take anyone's life. They didn't go and, rape anyone. I mean, we're talking about senseless crimes, mistakes, whatever you may call it. These African American men have been murdered for the whole world to witness it. And what you're witnessing right now is our people. And when I say our people, I mean black, white, Mexican, Jews, Gentiles, Hispanics, you name it. Everybody worldwide are fed up. And of course, you do have those who are saying, well, yes, all lives matter, but all lives are not being taken in front of for the whole world to see. I mean, you have it's heartbreaking when you turn on the TV and you hear a man pleading for his life, crying out for his mother who's been deceased for 2 years. He cried out for his mom. She had been dead for 2 years. And people are just tired, fed up, and afraid. If it don't stop, who's next? And it's the whole protesting is all about, if you go back and you look at our history, the only way change has happened. I know this is all it's horrible what's taking place, the riots and everything that's going on. But at the same time, sometimes in order for change to take place, sometimes you got to get rid of the old in order for new stuff to grow up. And it's almost like it's a revolution taking place. And it would be different if this was just all African American people protesting, saying, hey, we're tired of this. We can't put up with this no more. We can't take this anymore. But that's not the case. We're talking about people all over the world protesting because we know in our heart of hearts that this is not only unjust, but at the same time, if it doesn't stop, you better believe this. Before long, if we continue to allow this to happen, it won't be long before it'll be knocking at your door. So the thing is, it's not just about, black lives right now, because before long, it won't just be about worrying about Xander being able to go off to college and not having to be worried about being stopped by an officer or getting pulled over for speeding, and just so happen in the process of getting pulled over for speeding, because as an African American young man, we have a different code of conduct that we're expected to follow when we're approached by the police than a Caucasian male. And unfortunately, that's the system we live in. And I know a lot of our young people, a lot of you guys probably never experienced that, don't know that, but then some of the older ones, some of you guys do know that. It is what it is. But the protesting, that's what it's all about. It's about change. It has to happen because some of you guys are going to enter probably interracial relationships. Some of you guys are probably going to be, one day you're going to get married and you may want to adopt children of a different ethnic group. And when you do, you're going to want to make sure that your kids are safe. Those are your children. And the same love you have for the white children in your home, you're going to have that same love for your African American children. And no matter what takes place, you should, because we're in the land of the free and we're all equal, the same laws that apply to John, those same laws should apply to me because we're in America. And it's just that simple. So the protest and everything that's taking place, it's about us breaking those curses that's been put before us years and years and years ago. And everybody right now, we're just saying it's time out for it. It has to stop now. We have to stop it now so that we can all be treated equally.
Rod, that was good. People are starting to comment on the different streams. I'm on the 707 YouTube page, and Katie just says, Rod, I miss you so much.
I miss you too.
If you've got questions that you want to ask, honest questions about race in America, about the protests, about what's going on, you can go on ahead and type in your questions now on 707 Facebook, here on Instagram, or over on YouTube. A lot of people on Instagram are saying, how are you doing? How are you doing? Very good. There's a lot of people on Instagram. Here's a question that I'm going to ask Xander, and I'm going to give you a second to think about your response. So we're all on social media, and what we're seeing with hashtags right now is one of the big viral hashtags. Today it's Blackout Tuesday, which means one thing, but the bigger one is hashtag Black Lives Matter.
Yes.
And there's folks who don't understand the meaning behind the hashtag Black Lives Matter, and they will comment back, hashtag All Lives Matter. If you feel comfortable talking about that or speaking into that, can you help us understand what's the deal with the hashtag Black Lives Matter, and why is saying All Lives Matter just ignorant?
So to start off, think of it like this. If someone's house is burning, would you put out that fire before another one that hasn't started yet? Would you let that fire spread to the next house, or would you stop the fire that's already started? That's the easiest way I can put it. It's not that a significant race matters more than any other. We're just trying to be heard for what is going on in our households, in our communities. Frankly, we're tired of it. We're tired of having to say Black Lives Matter. We understand that all lives matter, but all lives won't matter until Black Lives Matter. That's really all we're trying to say.
Yeah. Oh man, that was spot on, man.
Yeah.
To put it another way is if you've got a Bible, you could flip to the book of Luke, chapter 15. Luke 15 is one of my favorite chapters in the Bible.
Yeah.
Jesus tells 3 stories, right?
Yeah.
And the first story is about the lost sheep. There's a shepherd who has
Yes.
100 sheep.
Yes.
All the sheep are his sheep,
That's right.
you know?
That's
They
right.
may be different sizes, different colors, but they're all sheep.
That's right.
And Jesus says that one sheep
Wow.
goes missing.
Wow.
And so Jesus says, the good shepherd leaves the 99 to go find the one.
Wow.
And so when we say hashtag Black Lives Matter,
Wow.
we're saying, listen, the 99 sheep that are already found, good for you, yay.
Yes.
But there's a sheep that's gone.
Yes.
We got to go take care of that sheep because
Yes.
all the sheep matter.
Because those
Yeah.
99 are already taken care of.
Yeah, those 99 are already taken care of. Like we were saying with a house being on fire. You know, yeah, all the houses are here, but there's a house that's on fire. We're not going to send firefighters to all the houses. We're going to send it to one that's on fire.
Yeah.
And that's the idea. Do you want to piggyback on that, Rod?
And you know, I think one of the things we missed is a lot of people fail to understand is this. If it bothers you so much when the statement is put out there, Black Lives Matter, and deep down in your soul, that irks you. Well, let me just that pisses you off. And then the next comment comes out of your mouth will probably be, I'm not a racist. You may want to do some reevaluating. That may not be your intent. I'll give you an example. Sometimes you can unintentionally be doing something, or my wife I use my wife for example. Nope, I'm gonna use my brother for an example. I gotta sleep with my wife. Look, my brother brought to my attention, this was when my single days, we used to have company come over. And he came to me one day and he said, bro, why every time we have company, you have a tendency of putting me down, cracking jokes. We always joke with one another. So, but I was like, no, I don't do that. He was like, bro, you do. Especially when there's some fine girls around. That's exactly how I put it. Especially when there's some fine girls around. And I was like, man, I don't do that. And I went, okay, I tell you what. We're going to come up with a system. If I am doing that, we came up with something like a little system. Let's say the system was you grab your hat and you tip your hat, or you just tap me on the shoulder. And because every weekend we were partying, we were doing something. And lo and behold, what I learned about myself, that with him tapping me on my shoulder so much, because I was unaware, it was so much a part of who I was that I didn't even realize that I was doing it, because it was just a part of who I was. I was doing it without even being aware that I was doing it. And my intent was not to hurt him. It was just fooling around, joking around. And I'm saying all that just to say, if it bothers you so much, just that statement being made, Black Lives Matter, that you got to come back with, because when you turn on the TV, you don't see 16, 17-year-old white boys being murdered in the street or being shot in the back, running away from the police. You don't see 30-year-old men, white men, who are bouncing bad checks, mishandling counterfeit bills, being with the police on their knees and their neck, murdering them. These are things you do not see from the police. I mean, these are things you don't see that take place in our society when it comes to any other group but the African American culture. So when we say Black Lives Matter, it's because our group, our culture is under attack. And it's all because of the system, the way it was set up, and the system. Because for a long time we say, oh, well, we got to fix this broken system. The system isn't broken. The system is doing exactly what it was designed to do. Unfortunately, it is. But the thing is, going back to it, if it bothers you so much when we say Black Lives Matter, you may want to do some soul searching, because somewhere in there's something you have not worked out deep down in the pits of your soul, that this skin bothers you. Something bothers you. When you can see a black man being murdered on TV, and when someone says Black Lives Matter, and the next comment out of your mouth is all lives matter. Yes, they do. But all lives aren't being killed right now. It's those black lives that are being taken. And that's why, and that's where that hashtag is coming from. And that's why we're out here protesting. So, and I'm saying all that so that, Pastor John and Xander hit the nail right on the head. Look, we're stronger together, y'all. We're in this all together. And when Jesus went after that one, because most of us, my thinking would have been, oh, Lord, I don't want to lose that 99. But he loved us so much. He went after me. I wandered away. He came after me. He came after you because you mattered that much. And do I matter that much to you where you would put that hashtag up there because, or do Xander mean that much? Or do your neighbor mean that much to you? Because that's what it's about. It's about, am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am. And right now, the black lives are being affected because of everything that's going on. And that's why that hashtag is out there like that. Black lives are being taken from us, y'all. And we have to understand that. And I just don't know no other way to put it. I mean, it's just, it's out there, John. I don't know. I don't even know why people want to argue it or debate it. And I say you really have to do some soul searching, because something inside of you is broken, and you got some deeper issues going on, and it may
Yeah.
have something,
So the hashtag Black Lives Matter, it's not a political
No.
thing. It's a human rights thing.
Human rights, baby.
Xander, do you have any other thoughts before I go to a question that someone just posted?
Is it okay if I stray away from the
Oh yeah.
Lives Matter, All Lives
Oh yeah,
Matter?
yeah, yeah.
So obviously today we've seen the Blackout Tuesday hashtag, and I personally haven't been too thrilled with it, and I just felt like it kind of felt forced. Why would they choose today of all days? What is so significant about a Tuesday that it needs to be blacked out? Why is everyone posting a black square all over their timelines, getting off of social media to not bring any attention to the protests, the riots, the looting, any of that? Why does it have to stop today? We are losing traction by sitting back, posting a black square, and completely getting off of social media. It doesn't make sense to me, because we are stopping people from getting the awareness that they are looking for. The ignorance of some people isn't being spoken upon because they aren't asking questions. They are not being able to see what's going on in other states, such as really anywhere, like Minneapolis with burning down Target. I don't understand why people were so upset about that. You can burn down a building and get it right back. George Floyd's life was taken. You can't get that back. So I'm confused as to why we're choosing today specifically to just stop all coverage of what's going on in the world, because I'm sure there's still more that is happening at this very moment that we aren't capitalizing on.
No, that's really good.
Well, the Blackout Tuesday, it's all about, anytime you have stuff like that going on, it's just about just trying to unify the people, and you can still post things. They're just saying the focus should all be about, if it's not about what happened to George Floyd or anything centered around that, don't post about nothing else. Don't give, Target credit. Don't give Kmart credit. Let it be centered around what happened to George Floyd. Let it be focused about the peaceful protests. Don't give these idiots who are vandalizing buildings, don't give them, social media credit. Don't give them news credits, because things that we allow the attention to come off of things because that's what we focus on. And the thing is, so that blackout is just about unifying the people, and also focusing on keeping the focus where it really should be, which is the loss of George Floyd's life and everything that is about making change for not only black lives, but the system that was designed flawed to not be equal for everybody, so that it can be fixed, so that it has to be changed. The laws, the legislation, everything from the top to the bottom, it has to be fixed. So that's what that was about. But I totally hear you though, Xander. I hear you.
But still, I feel as if I'm just not comfortable with the constant post of hashtags and I'm not
Yeah.
black, but I see you, this, that, and the third.
Yeah.
It's extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because you can say that without really knowing what we as a culture, me as a person, what we are going through.
Yeah.
You can just senselessly post that and get off of social media completely. I really am conflicted on not so much just celebrities, but also people of my age who haven't spoken out, asked questions, or done any type of research, that are just blindly posting these things and then hurrying up and getting off before someone asks them a question that they don't have an answer to.
Yeah.
It's ignorance that should be kept down. If you don't know what you're speaking about, don't speak on it.
Yeah.
Because you can give the wrong information to someone else, and now you have more people that are informed of the wrong stuff.
No, I hear what you're saying. Like, I don't know, did you hear about what happened with Emma Watson on Instagram today? Emma Watson, the actress, she's a big human rights advocate,
Yeah.
but she's been silent about what's happening right now
Right.
until the Blackout Tuesday hashtag, and then suddenly she did this thing, and it was very tone deaf.
Wow.
And so she's getting a lot of flack for the very reasons that you're talking about. Well, hey, so we've got a lot of middle schoolers, high schoolers who are tuning in live here, and we've gotten some questions.
Oh,
They're
cool.
doing Facebook watch parties, which is really cool. People are sharing stuff. So on one of the Facebook watch parties, this question came in, and this is a great question.
Okay.
So if I'm middle school, high school, right, what do I do if I'm living in a prejudiced house? That's the question. What are suggestions if I'm in middle school, high school, and I'm living in a prejudiced house?
Wow. Wow.
And thank you for asking that question. And if while they're thinking about their answer, you're welcome to share your questions right now in the comment section. We'll try to get to some of them. But what do you do if you're in a prejudiced house?
Well, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm gonna take you right back to the Word of God. You know, the Word of God tells you, first of all, to honor your mother and your father. So I'm not going to tell you to say or do anything to disrespect your parents. But on the other hand, the Lord don't want you being disrespectful to his people either. So if you know that your family, your parents are wrong, you know what? There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, mom, dad, that's not right. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. There's nothing at all wrong with mom, dad, oh, that's not right. And if mom and dad then say, hey, if you want to live in this house, these are our rules, this is how things are going to go in here. Just because they do it does not mean you have to participate in it. So definitely pray for them. And don't, I'm not going to say, oh, every day you need to be coming up against your parents. No, that's not what you have to do. At that point, after you've expressed your concern in a respectful manner, mom, dad, because that's a hard thing to do, to say, mom, dad, you know, I don't think that's right. You know, I got friends who, you know, who I care about, who care about me, you know, and, you know, you talking like that, I don't think that's right. And if your parents care anything about you, but some parents, I mean, some people are just set in their ways. It is what it is. They're set in their ways, but you never know. Just you saying, mom, dad, that makes me feel uncomfortable, I don't think it's right, that may be the one thing they need to hear to start breaking that generational curse, to help them break through it. Or because you recognize it's not right, it stops there. Because you've already acknowledged and recognized, hey, it's not right, but guess what? That's where you have to stay, but that doesn't mean you have to participate in it, you know, but until you graduate from school and go off to college and you're able to, get a job, get your own place, and break that cycle, and have a family of your own, and break that curse by not repeating that same hurtful, negative, nasty hatred that is spewing out in that environment, and start spreading that love, because it can stop. It can stop with you. You can break that cycle. And like I said, sometimes it's about how you say it. You can address it in a respectful manner. And if your parents don't receive it, don't accept it, you leave it there. You don't argue, you don't fuss, you don't come up against your parents. I don't support that. I don't promote that, because that's not right either. That's their house, that's their rules. If that's the way they want to do it, so be it. But you're not stuck there forever. You're going to graduate. You're going to move on. You're going to have a family of your own. And you're going to be able to break that cycle and do things the way you know that God intended for them to be. So, and that's what we're here for. We can pray with you. We can help with easing that burden, as far as like just lifting your spirits and having someone to talk to, just so that you can keep your sanity. Because being in a negative environment, it has its impact on you, where sometimes if something else good isn't going in, sometimes it can consume you. So you just have to make sure, which it looks like you're already doing the right thing, because you're tuned in right now. So we thank God for that. But just hang in there. We'll get better.
And so see if you have anything you want to add, or even if you want to expand it to, you got friends, and maybe your friends say something on social media, or you're hanging out with them and they say something. What do you do?
Once again, it's more so encouraging people to research before they speak. A lot of times people just go with the information that they are given from their parents, and it may not always be things that they personally agree with, and they're just going off of what they've been taught for years. Personally, I was raised in a household where I was taught to accept people no matter their race, religion, so on and so forth. So I've never truly had the issue of having to grow to like someone. There are certain things that, truthfully, we won't always understand, and we just have to be curious about it. We have to ask questions. You can't sit in the darkness for so long. You can go so long without being informed that it tears you down in the long run.
That's good. So, where do we go from here? There's protests going on. There's rioting. Definitely don't riot.
No. Do not riot.
That's not acceptable. People are angry, but as the saying goes, an eye for an eye makes the whole world go blind.
Yes.
So rioting is not the answer, but
No.
Peacefully protesting. In the book of Matthew, Jesus talked about blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called sons and daughters of God. What can we do as the next generation, the 6th through 12th graders? We can't really go anywhere because we're still got lockdown things and curfews and stuff, but we do have the power of social media. We do have friends and relationships. What are some tips that we can do to be the change that we want to see?
I'm a firm believer in the protesting. I believe it is a beautiful movement to have our voices heard instead of just sitting back on social media making the post. If you can make the post, you can be out protesting. You can do one and the other, not just one and not the other. If you want to be the change, you have to be what you're preaching about. So you can't just sit back and say, Black Lives Matter, I support you, I support this, and not actually be out on the front lines risking your life for what you say you believe in?
Well, I say I agree with Xander, and at the same time, um, I think it's a process. Um, because I have a lot of years of experience with this, um, and it can be scary. I remember the first time I ever went out in protest, um, and it was because I was actually had got involved with my local union and all of that, and it was overwhelming, but it was amazing to watch and to be a part of. But for the young people, I would say first of all, it's about safety first, and being connected with someone that would definitely have your best interest in mind and in heart, and that would make sure that want to make sure you get home as well as they get home at the end of the night. Because sometimes when you're protesting, thank God here in Saginaw, it's been all very peaceful, but unfortunately that has not been the case all over America, and I've been in situations where it's been just the opposite, where I've been in the middle of some riots, and that's scary. That's very scary. And I wasn't participating in the riot, just got caught up in it. Because you have people who they take advantage of situations. They see an opportunity to exploit a situation, and I think that's what's happening today. You have some people that see an opportunity to get a free TV, and they say, "Woo, thank you, Mr. Floyd." They are taking advantage of a situation where we're trying to actually bring about change and fight for all of our rights, and so I say if that's something that you're interested in and you want to do, just make sure you hook up with somebody who has a little bit of experience, for one, that will guide you, and because for me it's all about safety, and for two, you don't want no one who would mislead you. It's just like any and everything else you do, especially if you've never done it. Unfortunately, there's people that will try to take advantage of a good situation and make it bad. And if they see that you're new at something, and they could try to exploit that situation and use you to do that. But here in Saginaw, again, I say we have not had those problems. So if that's something you guys are interested in doing, reach out to me, because I will be out protesting by the weekend. And maybe that's something, if you want to get the experience, I will be more than happy to go out and make sure everyone is safe and get back home safely. So appreciate all the support.
Well, I appreciate you guys. Someone just left a comment on our 707 YouTube. They said in all caps, "I want to come and give you all hugs." That's amazing. So listen, tomorrow night, 8:15 p.m., our friends Christian Arndt, Brennan Meinhold, they'll be on the Life Church social media platforms. So you want to tune in for that, 8:15 tomorrow night. That'll be live with Christian and Brennan.
Yes.
And then this Sunday, if you didn't see, we can start gathering outside in groups of 100 or less.
Running around, y'all.
So 10 o'clock, 11:30, we have very limited seating for outdoor worship experience here at our Saginaw location. You get your reservations online. Go to lifechurchmichigan.com, and once the seats are gone, they're gone.
They're gone, right.
But then 7:07, we'll be back again live next Tuesday night. This was a powerful night.
Yeah.
Xander, do you have any other thoughts as we bring this in for a landing?
Really, I'm just curious as to when will any of this end. I've been seeing this for the past 8 years, going back to 2012 when Trayvon Martin was killed by George Zimmerman. I didn't understand it then, but as the years grew on with Sandra Bland, Eric Garner, it started to make more sense as I got older. I didn't understand why people were so enraged and upset about it, but now that it makes sense to me, I can understand why people were upset in the past.
That's well said, man. Xander, thank you for coming on. It's not easy to jump onto a live stream. So I really appreciate you doing that. And then, of course, Rod, thank you.
Thank you, John. And Xander, thanks for coming. And Christian and Ian, appreciate you guys as well. Look, we're all God's children. And the bottom line is, am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am. And John said almost every Sunday, we are stronger together, you guys. If you hurt, I hurt. And I know no other way to teach my kids. I love hard. The only thing that will overcome hate, I'm going to keep saying it, is love. And it really, really breaks my heart that we even have to have this conversation. And I thank God for change. I thank God for changing me. Thank God I'm not the person I used to be. Because this is hard. This is very hard. And to for people to think that all of the negative feedback, I just don't see how we, as children of God, how we can see anyone hurt. I don't care, Indian, Mexican, it doesn't matter. We're all God's children. To see anyone hurt, how that wouldn't bother any of us. And for some of the comments that I've just been seeing, people having problems with just the Black Lives Matter quote. And I just say, look, I thank God for all of our 707 students, just for you guys tuning in. And you guys are our future. And I want you guys to be better than us. Better than us. And part of the reason we're protesting, and we have to make this thing change, because if we don't, the next time it's going to be worse, because the fallout you guys will have to deal with. So it has to change. It has to. because each time the tension is just going to get stronger and stronger. So this is something I'm very passionate about. I've been very, very hurting at home and just trying to lay low, trying not to get on Facebook because I don't want to get too riled up, trying to keep my emotions somewhat in check. But this has been very hard because the one thing as a child of God we should have that the world don't understand, and that's compassion and love for our fellow man and for our brothers and sisters to question. It hurts. It hurts. So, but John, thank you. We appreciate you. And thank you guys. And just keep us in prayer. And love you guys.
Xander, thank you. Rod, thank you, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
And thank you for tuning in here on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We love you guys. And remember that in Christ, the best is yet to come.